into the ocean as my next two opponents fall to the ocean floor and I pin them. So will Donald Trump and all the Hulkamaniacs. But as Donald Trump hangs onto the top of the Trump Plaza with his family under his other arm as they sink to the bottom of the sea, thank God Donald Trump's a Hulkamaniac. He'll know enough to let go of his materialistic possessions, hang on to the wife and kids, dog paddle with his life all the way to safety. But Donald, if something happens, you run out of gas, and all those little Hulkamaniacs run out of gas, just hang on to the largest back in the world, and I'll dog paddle us, backstroke all of us to safety.
Oh, and thank you, Hulk Hogan. Let's get back to action. Wow.
238 pounds in the black corner. From St. Louis,
here comes Mr. Pro.
Andre the Giant.
Gonna get his legs in on the bruiser.
Hulk Hogan.
Number one, the greatest WWE champion of all time, and in many ways, the man who made the title what it is today, Bruno Sammartino.
His opponent weighing 236 pounds in the white corner. From Van Nuys, California.
Welcome in to another edition of the Retro Wrestling Rewind. As always, I am David Fine. And I would like to welcome back after a couple weeks. He was on vacation. Actually, no, he's in quarantine.
I was in prison, still am.
I mean, folks, if you've been living under...
David Fine is the only person that gets conjugal visits, by the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, you know, I have the power. I wouldn't say I have the Trump power because you don't want to fucking have Trump power, but we'll talk about Trump. But speaking of Trump, the intro that I played after our current, our normal intro, Hulk Hogan, Donald Trump, the whole promo. I mean, what did you think about that? I mean, it's just funny to think about that. This was 1988. So this is many, 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 many years ago. And he's the current president and the situation we're going under right now. But that was a great promo by one Hulk Hogan.
Full of cocaine and steroids. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. I mean, this show was, it's not liked by a lot of people, but a lot of people do like it. And I mean, like you were saying, we worship, and I really love all the WrestleManias. I mean, there are a couple in the modern era that I'm not a big fan of, but this WrestleMania was a tournament.
I can watch 1 through 8, no problem, all the time. I've seen them all a million times.
Yeah.
When it comes to anything past 20, shit gets kind of hazy for me, to be completely honest. And then your modern WrestleManias.
Yeah, and speaking of modern...
Can we talk about... Wait, before we move on, can we talk about Atlantic City, first of all?
Yeah.
What a shitty place to host a WrestleMania. Oh, my God. It's probably the worst city ever to host a WrestleMania.
I've never been to Atlantic City. Have you?
I've been to Atlantic City, and it was a couple years ago. I think it was like 2009 is when I went to Atlantic
2009?
City. It's a piece of shit. It's fucking awful there. It is. It looks like 1988. People dress like it's 1988. All the casinos, 1988. If you don't gamble, I just went down there just to say I went. Right? I took my wife down there. We went down there. I just went down there just to see what it's all about. Right? I can check that off the checklist. I went to Atlantic City. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so fucking shitty. I don't gamble because I don't like losing money. Right? I'm always thinking about when I'm gambling. I could have bought this with the $100 I just lost.
Yeah.
Regardless, finding other things to do was exceedingly difficult. We went to see like Ripley's Believe It or Not. I saw this guy in a motorcycle inside of a giant caged ball who was driving around inside the cage. It was ridiculous. And then you have the boardwalk, and that's about it. There's nothing else there. I went to Peter Luger's Steakhouse. That was great.
Yeah.
But like the casino is old and it smells like cigarettes and it's gross. Everything is like gross and old there, and they're having a tough time because not for nothing, people are not really going there. There's other casinos that are probably nicer in the surrounding areas. It would be like Connecticut or like Foxwoods and stuff like that. And now that gambling is sort of kind of legal, we have a casino on Long Island that's a shithole. Don't ever go there, by the way.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to go there right now because you can't fucking go anywhere. But
no, it's awful. It's awful. So Atlantic City. Again, this takes place at Boardwalk Hall, a.k.a. Trump Plaza. And here's the thing about Boardwalk Hall, the arena there. It takes the name of whatever casino books the show. So that necessarily was not a Trump building. It was Boardwalk Hall. And then, if whatever casinos is promoting said event, and it was used mostly for boxing, like a lot of the Tyson's fights were there and that kind of stuff. And that stuff was great. It looks on TV, it looks unique, but it does look like a piece of shit. It looks like your grandma's basement. Like the yellow rugs are disgusting. The two entranceways are weird. You have the stairs coming down, and then you have the other one that's opposite the hard camera. Like, that's all freaking weird. It's a weird venue to hold wrestling. I'm glad I never went back there. It just looks kind of shitty and old on TV. And it's just, I don't really feel it. And then the crowd was mostly, it was a casino buy. So, it was a sold show, essentially. So, like, the attendance and the gates don't really matter because it was a sold show. So what you got there was a lot of people who were coming in to the casinos, high rollers. They're getting free tickets because, they drop a lot of money at the casinos. So you don't really have a ton of wrestling fans there. It's not like a modern WrestleMania where, like, people are coming in from all over the country and it's wild and you meet people from around the world and everyone's super excited. This one, people can give two shits about.
Yeah, it was weird, but
this is the first the fan fest they had. This was the first one they had one. You see our good friend Blue Meanie on there too.
Yeah,
he's getting an autograph from Ricky Steamboat.
And we're going to talk a little bit later in the at the end of the show. The Blue Meanie actually has a podcast. He episode number 1 dropped last 2 days ago on Monday at 6 a.m. and it's actually a really good podcast. But we'll talk about that. We'll have a link to that in the show notes. I just want to give a little shout out to probably one of the nicest people that
sweetheart. Sweetheart.
He's a lot. To be honest with you, he's a lot nicer than you.
Yeah,
and,
I'm a dick.
Well, I mean, but
I'm surprising. He's from Philadelphia,
yeah,
and I'm from New York, and we should both be douches, but I'm more of a dick.
But speaking of that, we're kind of getting off the. It's a WWE or WWF WWE commentary. I saw on Twitter. Did you see that they still had up the MJF Tough Enough intro or video that he sent to be on Tough Enough? Did you see that?
It was amazing. This kid is a natural.
Yeah, he's a natural asshole.
Fucking natural. He's
a natural asshole.
Well, yeah, we're all.
I mean, yeah. We'll kind of get into. I want to talk a little AEW at the end, but on commentary on this, we had Gorilla Monsoon, Bob Uecker. In this whole thing, his whole thing was trying to find Vanna White.
I mean, it's 1988. I'd probably be doing the same thing.
Yes, Jesse Ventura. We have, of course, had Mean Gene Okerlund, Vanna White, Bob Uecker, of course, Howard Finkel doing the ring announcer, and Bob Uecker in the main event, which we'll talk about that. Robin Leach. We had Gladys Knight. We had it was a
You're a big Gladys Knight fan?
I like the Pips better.
Okay, you're a Pip.
Yeah,
okay.
But we'll kind of get into this. It was a tournament, of course. So the first round.
We have to get into why it's a tournament. Do you know why it's a tournament?
Because the belt is held up.
You know why the belt's held up?
I know why the belt's held up, but why don't you tell everyone at home who may have not been born in 1988 or maybe they're just been living under a rock, why are they having a tournament to find a brand new champion? So that is match on
the main event. It was the first main event, by the way. Not Saturday's the main event. Main event and Saturday's main event are two different shows. That being said, so that this match, it was Hogan versus Andre in the big rematch from WrestleMania 3. And they had this match, and it was the most watched professional wrestling show in the history of forever. I think it still is up to this day. Like, the rating was obnoxious. So they go through this match. All of a sudden, Andre hits this weak suplex. 1, 2, kick out, 3. The referee counts 3. The referee gives the match to Andre the Giant. He is the new WWF World Champion. And then a second referee comes out. Oh, my God, there's 2 Dave Hebners. Oh, my God, what's happening now? The Hebners get into a little bit of a shoving match. One gets punched in the face. Hogan beats up a Hebner, and he chucks him out of the ring and misses, by the way. And poor Earl gets fucking killed in that one. But I think when you look at this match, again, and it's very – because people forget the part that Andre wins. He's the new WWF champion. The reason why he gets stripped, though, is because he surrenders the belt to Ted DiBiase. So Andre gives his belt to the $1 Million Man. $1 Million Man is the new champion. And he actually takes it to him on a couple of house shows. If you want to look back, I have a couple of the matches where DiBiase has the belt and he's billed as WWF champion. Then Jack on the Take Tunney comes out and declare the belt vacant, and we have a 14-man tournament with Hogan and Andre getting a bye in the first round.
You're not a fan of President Jack Tunney?
I love Jack Tunney. I wish they would bring back more authority figures that are not biased, like Jack Tunney.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I did like his nickname, On the Take Tunney. So
he was on the take. He was getting favors from Miss Elizabeth and shit. It's ridiculous.
I mean, who wouldn't want favors from Miss Elizabeth? I'm just
saying.
I
mean, that's a risque angle for 1988.
Yeah, I mean, she is, she was and always will be all the way alive. Just saying.
Agreed.
So so this brings us into this tournament. Of course, the first match of the evening was
Battle Royal.
A Battle Royale.
20-man over the top Battle Royal. And last one we saw was at WrestleMania 2, but that involved football players, so half the people in the Battle Royal were football players, essentially.
I hate that.
I think this is the first time where we're going to try to get as many people on this show as humanly possible. That's why you have 1 million people in the tournament, and that's why you have this 20-man Battle Royal. It goes to show you how fucking deep the roster was during this time.
It was
Who was your favorite wrestler in the Battle Royal?
My favorite wrestler back in the days was Bad News Brown.
You're Bad News Brown?
I mean, he was the world's greatest African American professional wrestler.
Wow.
I will say that. Put that on record. He was the
not Pistol Pez Watley.
No, Shaska Watley. He's on another fucking level. Pistol Pez, nah. But no, I'm a big Bad News Brown. He with that black glove, it was menacing. I'm sure he was a real bad.
I would have put the belt on him personally. That's just me.
I mean, he eliminated Bret Hart, so I mean.
Yeah. So the participants of this Battle Royal was Bad News Brown, the Bolsheviks of Nikolai Volkov and Boris Zukov, the Hart Foundation, Bret Hart and Jim Neidhart, the Killer Bees, Beef Brian Blair and Jim Brunzell, Danny Davis, George Steele, Harley Race, Hillbilly Jim, the Rougeau Brothers, the Young Stallions, Paul Roma and Jim Powers, Junkyard Dog, Ken Patera, Ron Bass, Sam Houston, Sika, and those were your participants. Did I miss any? I don't think so.
No. Hillbilly Jim, he is underrated. Hillbilly
Why
Jim.
the fuck was Sika in there, though? What the fuck is Sika doing in 1988 WWF? And where's Alpha?
I don't know.
Probably an ICW or something stupid.
Probably.
So your friend Sam Houston's in this match. He gets eliminated very, very quickly. I think he's the first guy out.
Oh my god, fucking Sam! Oh my god, I fucking hate Sam Houston. I mean, he was a champion in the National Wrestling Alliance. He comes to the WWF and in that stupid cowboy gimmick. I mean, he's just, I don't know. There's only one wrestler that I think is worse than Sam Houston.
Who's this?
Virgil.
Okay,
yes.
That's fair.
But well,
it's a little bit of controversy in this match. So I've watched this match hundreds of times, and there's confusion with the commentary. Did George Steele actually get into the match?
No, he did not.
Or was he on the outside the entire time?
Even
the announcers were confused because he was in there for introductions. I never see him get out.
Nope, he did not get out. So he technically did not get eliminated. So he is still in the Battle Royal.
He is still
dead.
in the Battle Royal to this day. But I hate when they do that gimmick when someone's on the outside and pulls someone from Battle Royal from inside out. I think that's ridiculous and stupid.
Yep. I mean, a lot of those now the Battle Royals are I
hate them all.
Yeah,
Battle Royals and Royal Rumbles.
Because it's like they have like 5 people that are working hard, and then other guys are just sitting around doing nothing, or they've powdered out of the outside underneath the middle rope or bottom.
Modern Royal Rumble is this: everyone is laying down, and there's 2 guys doing spots in the middle of the ring.
Yep,
that's what it is, and it's ridiculous and looks stupid. Stop doing that shit.
Yeah, well, you know what?
In addition to that, we have Bret Hart and Bad News Brown as the last 2 guys. Bret Hart's still technically a heel here.
And boy, we know Bad News Brown is never going to be a babyface.
No, well, when he was Good News Brown at one point, but that's Stampede. For
Yeah,
you.
I mean, yeah, that. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of Battle Royal. I'm surprised. Well, they can't have a Battle Royal of this year's WrestleMania because you can't have more than like 5 people in a single ring at one time now because the social distancing. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Bad News putting him over. I mean, he wasn't going to win the title. I mean, it was just, I don't know. It was a good.
I mean, Bad News is there for a while. I mean, he's there for 2 years. I mean, he doesn't leave until after SummerSlam '90, so he's there for a while. And he's still, right before this, he's still feuding with Savage and technically Hogan. Actually, the blow off with Savage and Bad News is Hogan beating Bad News. That's the blow off.
Yeah,
because Hogan has to avenge Elizabeth's honor. So, though he's in a pretty prominent spot, a top spot. He'll go on to face your Jim Duggins and your Jake the Snakes later on. But again, he did exceedingly well in the WWF while he was there. This is another aborted Bret Hart singles run, though. They're going to do that single push for Bret, and then they stopped.
Yeah, well, I mean, he did eventually.
Because they split them up. It was weird. It was weird how they did it. Like, all right, so on house shows they have Bret, but he's wrestling heels, and he's sort of still a heel, but kind of a babyface. Mm-hmm. And then they have Jim Neidhart, still a heel.
Yeah.
So it was weird. Like, they were going to turn them but not break them up. And then they're like, fuck it. And then we're going to do this Rougeau Brothers angle.
God, the fabulous Rougeau brothers.
I like Jacques. I don't know about that Raymond, though.
No, I can't trust him. The man you can always trust, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, he is taking on the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, with the 8th Wonder of the World, Andre the Giant, and
this match would have been
Virgil.
good at Mid-South. That's for sure.
Yeah. Of course, Ted DiBiase goes over Jim Duggan in 5
they did
minutes and 2
the whole
seconds.
thing where Andre punches Duggan in the face while Ted DiBiase's giving him a knee to the back, and then DiBiase does the fish drop, and then 1, 2, 3, it's all over. I mean, it's only 5 minutes long. It's an okay match. Again, we've seen them have better matches, but with this format, a lot of these matches, minus the Jake Roberts, Rick Rude, are going to be very, very quick, very short matches. I mean, it goes on because eventually Duggan does feud with Andre after this, which is a cool little deal. But it's kind of a setup there a little bit, and then DiBiase gets the win here with interference from Virgil and Andre the Giant.
Yeah, I am a big DiBiase fan, not as much in the WWF as he was when he was in Mid-South and his run back down there. I mean, did you like him back then, or were you more of a big Ted DiBiase fan in the WWF?
Well, as a child, I didn't like Ted DiBiase, but I could always appreciate the fact that he's a really good wrestler.
Yeah.
Like, it actually, like, stuff like that used to irritate me as a kid because I always felt like if you're a rule breaker / heel, whatever, a villain, and you can actually wrestle really good, it makes me dislike you even more because you don't need to break the rules to win. You could just win on being a good wrestler. So anytime, like, really technical wrestlers became heels and started cheating, it would really piss me off.
Yeah.
They did their job. Got the heat.
Yeah. Speaking of doing their job, the third match of the evening, we had Don Morocco with superstar Billy Graham taking on the Canada's strongest man, Dino Bravo, with Frenchie Martin. Actually, no. He won by disqualification.
Yeah.
I mean,
but they did the whole thing where when Bravo pulls the referee in front and Morocco hits him with a forearm. So that was the 1, 2, 3. Morocco should never, ever, ever, ever be babyface. Ever. Looking jacked, too. I don't know what he was taking, but Jesus Christ, he's huge. He was always a big guy, but this is the first time you really see him cut up like that. Yeah. And he comes out to Jesus Christ Superstar, which is dubbed on the WWE Network, but that was a cool theme song.
Yeah, I mean, it still annoys the hell out of me that, especially like you said in the ECW stuff, that everything is dubbed with generic music and just, I mean, it doesn't take away a lot of things, but there are some people that it takes away their entire gimmick. I mean,
the one that hurts the worst, the WWF, is Rude.
Yeah.
They changed Rude's music, and it's so irritating.
Yeah, the other one that irritates me is in the NWA when gorgeous Jimmy Garvin comes out, because he always came out to ZZ Top's Show Up Dressed Man, and he's dancing to some generic non-music, has no words to it. It's just some beat, and he just, I mean, maybe it's just me. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of people that don't really think that or really care, but you know, if you saw it the first time, it's like seeing something in the nature. You know, like if you go out to the West and you see a buffalo, and you see it's in its own element. I saw it back in the 80s whenever they didn't have to dub things because they were just fucking ripping. They didn't give a shit.
No.
They did not pay any royalties. They said, fuck it. We're just going to play all that. We're going to play Iron Man. We're going to play Shark.
There was a time that the music for championship wrestling was Thriller.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah, they didn't give two shits about it back then, and of course now, they're like, "Fuck it, we're not going to pay the royalties for that."
Well, when did they start with the theme music? Like, we're gonna start producing our own. Was it with the wrestling album? Was like the first time we're gonna make our own theme music?
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I really do like Real American for Hogan. I think it's a dope song, but Eye of the Tiger is fantastic.
Yeah, I think I was watching something on YouTube, and he came out to Eye of the Tiger. I think
it's ridiculous.
I was like, man, the crowd just freaking went crazy. But it was back, when
because Hogan had Eye of the Tiger first, and then he started coming out to the theme to Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling for a while.
Yeah,
until he stole the U.S. Express's theme song. We're still only had for I think one taping only. So
yeah, but the next match, Greg Valentine with
the Hammer Valentine.
Greg the Hammer Valentine with Hulk Hogan's best friend Jimmy Mouth of South Heart taking on Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. This is 9 minutes 12 seconds. It was, I mean.
Well, here's the real thing about this match. Do you think Ricky should have went over?
Yes, I think he
was. Because he would have fought Savage in the next round.
Yeah. I mean, he is the better wrestler. I mean, Greg Valentine's good. He had some great stuff in the NWA, and he was great tag team champion, intercontinental champion. But Ricky Steamboat, I mean, he should, especially in '88. I mean, Ricky was still good. I mean, I think that this is because he fought Ric Flair at Wrestle War '89. Was it Wrestle War '89?
Yeah.
In that match, and that was one hell of a match.
Well, here's the thing too. So this is the popular thought here. All right, so say Ricky goes over Greg, and then you do Ricky, Steamboat, and Savage gets the win over Steamboat.
Yeah.
Does that hurt Randy as a babyface?
Not real. I mean, you have two baby faces, going up against each other. I mean, I don't think it does.
It's Randy's night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can see why I see why they did it with Greg, because you want to make sure that Randy's beating nasty, stinking heels the entire way through, and nothing takes away from that. You don't want to split the audience. You want to get that big reaction for Randy at the end of the night. So I understand it a little bit better, but it's still you still want to see more Randy Savage Ricky Steamboat.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would have hurt Randy because ultimately it was his night, like you said. I mean,
like they could have done something where like Ricky gets hurt and they have to stop the match like halfway through or something.
Yeah. I mean, I was a Greg Valentine fan back in the day. I mean, he was a good wrestler. I mean, he still got those golden locks.
Yeah, like he is the best hair. Like him and Honky still have their hair. It's amazing.
And Jimmy Hart has. I mean, has that man aged a day?
No,
I don't know how old he is, but he has not aged a day. I mean, according to the old Wikipedia, he was born in 1943, so he's older than he's a 77. He does not look a day over. No, he does 40, not look right? 77, huh? He does not look 77.
He's older than Lawler.
Yeah, but God, I don't want to talk about Jerry the King Lawler, who does not need to be on the WWE commentary anymore. But that's that's neither here nor there. But next match we had, talking about the man we just talked about before, Randy Macho Man Savage, with the very, very pretty Miss Elizabeth. Of course, this is a night where he wrestles a few times, and every time she has on a different outfit. He has on a different robe and a different trunks.
That has to be a Vince thing. That's like such a detailed Vince thing that no other promoter or booker would even think of.
They'd be like, just fucking wear the same thing, whatever. Keep the same shit on.
Or it could have been Randy, because Randy is a detail guy.
Yes, taking on the natural Butch Reed with the Doctor style slick. I am a big Butch Reed fan.
Yeah, me too.
I mean,
he could have been NWA World Champion in '82 for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was big. I mean, I'm more of a Savage fan because his match with Ricky Steamboat was great, and he's just a great wrestler, and he'll always be, one of the greats. But yeah, Butch Reed. I mean, he was great back in the he was in Mid-South.
Mid-South.
He was good. He was good. Well, of course, he was good in WCW, NWA as Doom with Ron Simmons. I mean, he was. I think he should have been world champion. Him and Bad News Brown. Maybe not. I mean, of course, I think Butch Reed could have been NWA champion. Butch Reed or Bad News Brown, maybe WWF champion. But
I would have transitioned. Like, if you weren't going to turn Randy heel, and you didn't have to because he was drawing so well as a babyface. If you want to transition out, that's the way to do it. Is you have Bad News beat Savage and Hogan beat Bad News, and that's how you transition the belt back. If you wanted to keep Randy as a babyface,
yeah,
which they could have, because like I said, he was drawing crowds and Hogan was doing no holds barred, and he's number one guy. He's out there on all the house shows, and they're drawing money. So there's no ill effects on not having Hogan around.
No, but you know what? In this time of peril and quandary around the country, I mean, people are sheltering in place. They're not going anywhere. They're not going to work. They're maybe going to get some food at the grocery store.
The bodega.
Yeah, I mean, I have been at home for the past 2 weeks, not left. We've gone outside to do stuff outside because can't just stay inside. Just did some in the front yard, backyard. Got stuff delivered, from shipped in Publix and everything in Target. But if people want to binge on something, the one thing that I've actually introduced my son to, and I would admit he's a big fan, the little David Fine Jr., he loves your YouTube channel. I mean, and he has started watching the AWA Project, which did that just start, or have I missed a couple of weeks? But kind of explain, tell everybody how to get to your channel.
So what you're going to do is you want to go and type in retro wrestling games on the YouTube search bar there, and you'll pop right up. We have like 389 videos. The AWA 1990 project started last week, so we have one episode from last week, and then we have one episode from this week. So those are already up, and it's basically this. This is the premise of the show. It's real simple. I'm going to buy the AWA from Vern Gagne. And it's 1990, so it's struggling. This is right before Team Challenge Series and all that kind of good stuff. And I'm going to invest a ton of money, upwards of $100 million of fictitious money, which I don't have. But in this fantasy world, I do have it. And I'm going to recreate the AWA in my image to take on both WCW and the WWF. So we talk about everything across the board, from what angles we would book, what talent we would bring in, what's going to be the overall mission statement for the company, how we're going to compete with both WWF and WCW. In addition to that, we talk about the state of professional wrestling in 1989, 1990, 1991, and whatever topics might arise from that. So check it out. If you're a fan of the NWA 1983 project, if you're a fan of the NWA 1984 project, you'll really, really enjoy the AWA 1990 project.
Yeah,
so
I mean, I've gotten a lot of comments from friends, friends of the show that have.
You don't have friends.
Okay, my imaginary friends of the show have been,
The
saying,
people you meet on Tinder are not your friends.
"Hey, I can't do that right now because I mean, you can't really go on dates."
I know.
It's. I mean, I have a feeling, there's a lot of businesses that are down. You know what's not down? These video porn chats. Just saying, people can't go out to have sex, so they're going to be. Just saying. Just saying.
I'm just saying, like, VR is a real thing.
Yeah, so is VD, but but I wouldn't know about that. But anything else that you're gonna? Is this the only project on the YouTube channel that you're working on right now? The AWA project, or is it? Or are you putting out some other content?
Well, of course, we have the Retro Wrestling Games Presents video game review show that will always be going up periodically, probably every other week. It looks like, hopefully. The last one we did was WWE 2K15, so check that one out. And I believe the next one we're doing is The Final Bouts, and that is a wrestling arcade game from the Neo Geo. So check that out. It's pretty dope.
I remember the Neo Geo. That was...
It's $1,000 for a console. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember seeing it like a, not video game store, but like a arcade, an arcade, not the Boomers or one of those Dave and Buster's, but just a video arcade. And God, I used to love that. I'm like, yeah, they had some great games. I mean, back in the day. But speaking of things that were, these next couple of matches are just weird. We have the one-man gang with Slick. Of course, Slick was in the last match with Butch Reed, taking on the Beast from the East, Bam Bam Bigelow, with the great Sir Oliver Humperdinck. He beats Bam Bam by countout.
It's weird because Bam Bam was in the middle of this push that he was getting. He was on Hogan's team for Survivor Series. He's having matches on house shows with Andre, and all of a sudden he gets jobbed out here by the one-man gang via countout. But then he's not too long for this world. He's gone right after this.
Yeah. But I mean, well, not literally like dying, but he's
he's not here. He ends up he ends up, I think, back in Memphis maybe, and then he goes to Japan, ends up WCW, and then more indies, and back in WWF. 93-ish, late 92 maybe.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was definitely not the way I thought this match was going to go.
Well, it's their own fault. They never, ever booked Bam Bam Bigelow as a babyface.
No.
Because he could do cartwheels? Is that the reason why?
Probably.
Dumbass shit.
But speaking of dumbass shit, we were talking about at the beginning of the program how at the convention center that WrestleMania 4 was at, the way the ramp that they came down had the stairs, and then that was just weird. They walked down, and then they just were. It was a normal walkway. That's just weird. But probably
it was shot good.
Yeah,
it looked packed. It looked like there was a ton of people. And,
yeah.
it wasn't that many people there.
Yeah,
but they shot that really well. Again, WWF production at this point is miles ahead of anything that WCW is doing.
Yeah, there's a WrestleMania where any WrestleMania will have more people than is this WrestleMania. Kind of just talking on the WrestleMania topics, WrestleMania 36, your thoughts on them wrestling with no fans in the building for WrestleMania over 2 days.
First of all, I think it should be canceled. That goes without saying.
Didn't they already tape it?
It's already taped, so we're going to have something. Yeah. But I think the reason why they're taping it is for some sort of insurance scam they're trying to pull, regardless.
Yeah, well.
Should be canceled. We're not going to have WrestleMania this year. If you want, bring it back in the Garden sometime in June or whatever, and have WrestleMania. That's the big payoff. It's like, we're going to bring WrestleMania back to the Garden. You charge obnoxiously high prices for these tickets because people don't want to go.
And they want to get out.
Yeah, they're not. Like, it's going to sell in 30 seconds, and a nosebleeds are going to be $500.
And you would be there.
No one would care. And if you want to do it for 2 nights, you can do it for 2 nights. You get some goodwill to bring WrestleMania back to MSG. It's important. You having all these other shows at MSG, and I don't know if the New Japan show got canceled yet, but that was supposed to happen over the summer. That's the way I would have done it, and really started promoting this MSG show like huge. And then you can do like your other events or around the horn. You can have Takeover in Brooklyn. You can, you can run 3 buildings the same night if you really want to.
Yeah, I mean,
And if you want to do something crazy, it's like you can have part 1 at the Garden. You can go and have one in Chicago and have one in LA and do the 3-city deal.
yeah, I mean, you could do. I mean, I just think this like the Raw's empty shows are terrible. The SmackDown empty shows
It looks
are terrible.
stupid. It looks dumb.
But
The problem is, I'm going to tell you what the problem is.
there's
Here's the
no
problem.
fans there.
Well, yeah, but still, the problem is they're still doing shit like there's fans there.
Yeah.
So it looks stupid, like it's a rehearsal. So they're doing their poses, but they're still doing it to the audience, do it to the camera. They just now started looking into the camera because prior to this, they weren't allowed to look straight into the camera.
Yeah.
It's weird, Vince's them. So now they started looking in the camera because there's no one fucking there.
Nope.
And a lot of these people don't know how to kind of work on the fly like that. So it has a lot of issues there.
Yeah. And the one, and speaking of empty arenas, I will give it, and I'm more of a
Go watch Terry Funk versus Jerry Lawler in an empty arena match. And I tell you why that match is important.
Why?
Because the first thing that Terry Funk says to Jerry Lawler, because Lawler comes out in his full gear with the crown. And he's like, look at this idiot. Look at this goof. Doesn't he know there's no one here?
Yeah.
He looks stupid.
Yeah.
And he makes fun of Lawler because he looks like an idiot because he's in his full gear. And then Terry Funk gets stabbed in the eye. He goes, my eye. It's great.
No, I know you don't watch the other show, but I think AEW, their shows with no fans have actually been a lot better than the WWE shows. That's just me. I mean, I just think they've been putting on a lot of better matches. Of course, one week they had MJF and all the wrestlers in the crowd. That was kind of funny, but
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that it looks better because. But the thing with the WWE and the no fans, it's like, yeah, they're playing to the crowd. It's like they're saying stupid things like, oh, I guess Becky Lynch snuck through the crowd. I'm like, you're an idiot. There's no people there. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just, I am just, we kind of a issue that we didn't have, but our friends at WrestleCon had. They were going to be stuck with that really expensive bill from the Marriott. I think it was Marriott. For all the rooms and whatever for WrestleCon and all the stuff that they had. But good thing is Chris Jericho put up the old Twitter campaign and somehow they don't have to pay it now, which is a good thing because that would have really been financially terrible for them. I mean, having to pay all that money and have nothing in return for it.
They would have thanked their company. I mean, I saw the interview with the owner of WrestleCon / High Spots, and he was like, you know what? If I don't get my money back, I'm going to sell my house.
Yeah.
So, but I'm glad they were able to resolve that situation because good people over at WrestleCon. I do like them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I met a lot of great people at WrestleCon, and I cannot wait, to one day go back. And I look forward to the day when WrestleMania and WrestleCon is here in the Dirty South and the ATL, and that you get your ass on a plane or a bus or a train or however you get down here and come to the ATL and celebrate WrestleMania and WrestleCon in the capital of the South, Atlanta, Georgia. Would you do that?
What's your stadium?
Mercedes-Benz.
Oh, you got a dome?
Yep. It's a dome, but it's retractable, so they could open if they wanted to. They'd never open it for some fucking strange-ass reason. It's owned by Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons. So they have the Major League Soccer team is there, the United. Yeah, I mean, next year, I think, it's in Los Angeles next year. That should be okay. I mean, one day I'm sure New Orleans will get it back because they seem to get it, and I'm sure New York may get it, or not New York, New Jersey, wherever they have it. But yeah, I'm hoping that WrestleMania does come back to Atlanta. Hopefully in the next couple of years. The next match we had on the evening was a man who lives in the Atlanta, Georgia area, and I've been told is coming out with his own podcast. Jake the Snake Roberts taking on Rick Rude with Bobby the Brain Heenan, and it ended in a time limit draw.
This match is boring as fuck.
It starts out boring because, of course, Rick Rude's music has been dubbed over on the network. So that just sounds like shit. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of this match.
This is before the Jake Rick Rude feud also. So it's just a match, and they go 15 minutes for reasons. I don't know. Why can't it be like 5 minutes and you could have done a double count out, called that a day? Why the fuck you letting these guys go 15 minutes in a match with no heat that's boring as fuck?
Yeah.
Bad news. It's bad news. Not bad news Brown, just bad news all around.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say about this. I mean,
And their feud was great, but doesn't start for a little while.
But you know, the funny thing is, of the entire show, this is the longest match of the evening.
Yeah.
I don't understand that, but, you know.
I guess they had to fill time. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and speaking of a match that, I'm not a fan of this guy. The Ultimate Warrior taking on Hercules with Bobby the Brain. I've noticed that a lot of the managers, they're doing double duty right back to back, which I guess is good, but it's just like, it's just doing a lot of work. I mean, what are your thoughts on this match?
This is a Hoss match for sure. Again, it's not necessarily a Warrior's best match. It's not Hercules' best match. It's just a match. Now, the reason this match happens is not part of the tournament, by the way. Ultimate Warrior broke Hercules' chain, and that's why they're feuding. That's the reason. So there you go.
That's a great reason to. Who booked this shit? Jesus Christ.
Pat Patterson.
Oh, Pat Patterson. Gotta love Pat Patterson.
I do like the blue Ultimate Warrior trunks here that he's wearing. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, were you ever a Warrior fan?
I liked him up until he beat Hogan. I was a Hogan guy, so when Warrior beat Hogan, I didn't like Warrior no more.
Yeah. I mean, I was a Hercules fan, wasn't it? I mean, maybe I read it wrong, or maybe the internet was wrong. Wasn't he one of the assassins?
He was.
He was a skinny assassin. He was not Jody Hamilton.
I mean, he's been an assassin a couple different times.
I mean, as long as he wasn't a Russian assassin.
No.
I hated that tactic. God. What were your thoughts on the Russian assassins? Were you a big mark for them?
The Russian assassin?
With Russian Assassin 1 and 2, with Paul Jones back in the NWA?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
Is it just Jack Victory underneath the mask?
It's Jacko Victory and someone else.
Thunderfoot?
Sure. Yeah, I think it was. Well, I know one of the Thunderfoots. Thunderfoot number 1 is a wrestler, a guy I'm friends with. He really lives in Georgia, but yeah, I mean, was
it Wendell Cooley?
Wildcat Wendell Cooley, yeah. Oh man, the next match we had Andre the Giant, the 8th wonder of the world, with Ted DiBiase and Virgil taking on Hulk Hogan. It ended, folks. It ended in a double disqualification.
It shouldn't have, by the way. Hogan's the one that should have been disqualified.
Why is that?
Because Andre never hits him with the chair. At least I don't think he does. Andre swings the chair, Hogan blocks it, and then he hits Andre with it. So, in reality, I think Hogan should have been disqualified. Am I remembering that right? I feel like that's the way it went down.
I think so. It was a couple. I haven't watched this show in a couple of days, so. But
That's
no,
fair.
Yeah. I wish. I mean, the Hogan wasn't going to end up with a belt, and neither was Andre.
Well, I don't think you knew it at the time.
Well, yeah, no. But I mean,
the whole booking for this show is fucked. I mean, this is the first time, and again, there's a lot of different scenarios that play out in the overall booking of the show. Number one is supposedly Honky Tonk Man not wanting to drop the belt to Savage. So the way the story goes is that Honky refused to drop the belt to Savage on the main event. He's like, nope, I'm not doing that shit. Fuck off. I'll take this belt to Crockett. So like, fine, hold on to the belt, and to placate Randy, they give him the world title run, which doesn't make any sense for numerous reasons. Because, okay, say Savage has the IC belts. Are you going to really have DiBiase beat Hogan in this tournament?
No.
No. Are you going to have Hogan beat DiBiase in this tournament when he's going to film No Holds Barred? Nope.
So
that story doesn't make any sense. And then the original brackets, when they originally was all fucked up and shit, I think would end up with like Morocco versus somebody at the finals or something weird like that. I think they had Andre and DiBiase in separate brackets, but they should have been in the same bracket. Some stupid. I forget the original tournament bracket, but they changed it. Like, oh, we fucked that up. We gotta fix the bracket.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely some weird booking. Next match we had the great Ted DiBiase taking on Don Morocco.
The Rock Don Morocco.
Sorry, I apologize for besmirching his name. I mean, it's the
finish of the match was weird. So like they did like the whole. I guess the Morocco runs into DiBiase's knee. 1, 2, 3. It's all over. It's fucking weird.
Yeah. I mean,
what are your thoughts on Superstar Billy Graham circa 1988?
Not a big fan.
You ever watched that hip surgery video? That shit is gross. Why didn't you play that on TV?
That's why I don't watch that kind of crap.
It's so nasty. And they had Butch Reed was the person that ended his career, technically. And you had a Don Morocco Butch Reed feud that never really went anywhere, unfortunately. And they're both gone relatively quick after this. I don't think Morocco makes it to SummerSlam.
Yeah,
Billy Graham still there because he's the announcer for SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. A lot of guys I'm fans of, like back in Mid-South NWA, but when the WWF, it's just like I'm not a big fan. Just
for example,
I can't really think of anything off the top of my head, but
So was there anyone? Okay, I'll ask you this question: was there anyone that came into the WWF that you were super excited was coming, and then you were totally disappointed when they got here? Like, oh my God, former NWA World Champion Ron Garvin.
Yeah, I was really no. Actually, I think the probably the Brainbusters.
Okay.
I mean, they were freaking awesome in the National Wrestling Alliance, but in the WWF, not so much.
They got a title run though.
Yeah, I know, but they weren't as good then as they were.
They didn't have the opponents. Like their best matches were with the Rockers. Like they're going to have those cool matches with like, Powers of Pain and Demolition. Although I would like to see a Rougeau's versus Brainbusters match. That would have been pretty dope.
Yep.
You know who was for me? Was Jerry Lawler. Because for years, I looked at the magazines, I watched the videotapes, and Lawler beat everyone. He beat Hogan, he beat Savage, he beat Rude, he beat King Kong Bundy, he beat them all. And he comes in the WWF, and I'm assuming he's going to get a similar, if not the same exact push as Ric Flair. He did not. I literally thought that Lawler was going to come in and win the WWF Championship like right away, and he did not. Now, I didn't understand the politics and what was really going on at the time, and that Lawler was part-time and he was still working in Memphis. I just thought Jerry Lawler was going to come in and beat the shit out of everybody. He beat the fuck out of Kerry Von Erich. It makes perfect sense. He should be the next WWF champion. He's going to beat fucking Hulk Hogan and Bret Hart and Yokozuna, and he's going to take it all. And he did not do that. So I'm an idiot. What do you want from me?
I am not going to disagree with that. I mean, but
a lot of people were disappointed with Flair's run, but Flair was on top. He walked in on top. He walks in. He has a couple matches with Hogan, then he feuded with Piper, another top guy. He gets the belt, and then feuds with Savage forever, and then feuds with Savage / Warrior, right? But mostly Savage. Right?
Yeah.
Wins the belt back from Savage and then loses the Bret, and then he's in a feud with Mr. Perfect. Like, that's a heck of a run for the short amount of time that he was there.
Yeah, I mean, Flair coming in, of course he's going to be on top. I mean, he's freaking Ric Flair. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, it's, I'm not surprised.
Well, do you think Ric Flair is more important to WCW than Jerry Lawler was to Memphis?
Nope.
I know because he was part-time. That's probably why he didn't get a push. And the Honky Tonk Man was Vince's version of Jerry Lawler. Harley Race was Harley Race was also Vince's poorly done Jerry Lawler imitator. Like Vince really wanted Lawler. He could never get him. But then by the time he gets him, he doesn't use him that well as a wrestler. Yeah, he has the stuff with Bret Hart, the Kiss My Foot match, managing Hakushi, and then I think gank him. But he really transitions to that role to announcer, which he shouldn't be doing anymore. But at the time, in his prime, he was great. But yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a long time ago. The next,
Imagine if Vince got Lawler like in '84.
That would have, I mean,
Put him right in a feud with Piper.
that would have been great. That would have been really, really good. Next match, we had Ted DiBiase taking on.
We just talked about that match, you dumbass.
Sorry, my computer gets. I'm sorry.
Next matchup is Randy Savage with Miss Elizabeth.
That's what I was going
to
to
on Greg the Hammer Valentine with Jimmy Mouth of the South Howard. This match went 6:06.
Your thoughts on this match?
I'm curious about why we didn't see more Randy Savage, Greg Valentine matches. I thought they had really good chemistry together. This is a fun match, and I like Greg. The way Greg sells fucking elbow smashes to the head is hilarious to me. But it's a fun match. Savage gets the win here. Doesn't go too long. Perfectly acceptable wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still, to this day, like I said, a big fan of Macho Man Randy Savage. I mean, he will always be the best, and I will go to my grave saying that. But
he's my number one guy, by the way.
Yes, if you were fantasy booking and you were starting a promotion, he would definitely be
He's on top. Yeah, he's one of the first guys you bring in for sure.
Yep,
because he just oozed charisma. Like he had Hogan level charisma.
Yes, he did. He's crazy motherfucker. I'm sure in the end he seemed to, go kind of off the deep end. But he was with Miss Elizabeth. I mean, of course, she met her demise by Lex Luger. But we won't harp on that. The next match we had Brutus, the fucking Barber Beefcake, defeating the Honky Tonk Man. This was for the Intercontinental title with Jimmy Hart and Peggy Sue by disqualification. Your thoughts on this match?
At this point, Brutus is over. I know why he didn't win here, because they were setting up, his win at SummerSlam, which got aborted right before SummerSlam. So if you're going to put the belt on Brutus, this would probably be the time to do it. If you have no intention on putting the belt on Brutus, there's no way he should be winning by disqualification. Peggy Sue was Sherry Martel, by the way.
Yep.
Just to throw that out there, looking all the way live, as she always does.
Yeah, God, she was.
I love Sherry. I think Sherry she could be a top 5 manager. She's definitely the number 1 female manager of all time. I think that goes without question. And if anyone want to disagree with me, I will punch him right in the face. And she might be a top 5 manager of all time. She's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, she was definitely a. I think she's. I mean, I don't think she would be the number 1 manager of all time, but she was definitely top 5.
Yeah, I can put her top 5. I can put her with, Cornette, Paul Heyman, Bobby Heenan, Sherry. And who want to throw in number 5? JJ? You want to throw in JJ, Gary Hart? Who you want to throw in there? Doesn't matter.
Gary Hart.
Okay.
I was a big Gary Hart fan. I don't know why. I just was just a.
I mean, you can put Jimmy in there too, just based on his Memphis stuff alone.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that because Jimmy's been around so long, it's like. I mean, he still does stuff today. I mean, he's one of those guys you cannot kill off. I mean,
he's the ageless wonder. He's straight edge. That means he's better than you, from what I understand.
And you know it. But no, it's one of those guys that he's a loyal guy. I mean, he's been loyal to Hulk Hogan all these years. I mean, I think he runs his shop in Florida. And it's just like, he's one of those guys you treat well. He will have your back, till, as long as he can. I mean, it's just a loyal guy from what I've heard, but, yeah, I mean, I would definitely have him in my top 5, but definitely no one's ever going to be better than Bobby the Brain Heenan. That's just, that's my opinion. And, I'm sticking to it. We had the next match of the evening, the Islanders, Haku and Tama and Bobby the Heenan taking on the British Bulldogs, Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid and Coco Beware in a 6-man tag team match with the whole Matilda thing.
Matilda got kidnapped and apparently abused, but that's implied. I don't know if they sexually abused Matilda or they threw her down some stairs or they were giving her drugs, but there was implied abuse of this dog, which is fucked up. I mean, it's 1988. I would probably have the Islanders try to cook them and eat Matilda. That would have been hilarious to me. But again, no, I'm a sadist. Poor Coco Beware, he gets beat up by he gets the pinfall loss and gets beat up by Bobby Heenan. So poor Dynamite Kid, you can tell how hurt he was. Like, he wasn't the same anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Bobby Heenan as a wrestler, I mean, he wasn't bad. I mean, because he was a wrestler back in the day. So it's like...
Well, he was a manager. He was always a manager.
Yeah.
He could wrestle, too.
Yeah, you could definitely do that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, these matches with managers in it, I mean, are you a big fan of those? Or?
Yeah, I wish they bring them back. Because look at the managers at this show. This show is manager heavy. So you got Frenchie Martin, you have Slick, Humperdinck, Heenan, Billy Graham, Jimmy Hart, Peggy Sue. Like, it's just, Virgil. It's just chock full. Elizabeth, chock full of managers. Everyone has a manager. Fuck it. And sometimes the managers can't even talk, like Elizabeth.
Yeah, but she didn't need to talk. Just saying. I mean, she didn't have to talk with George Animal Steel. I mean, Animal Steel was definitely a big fan of Miss Elizabeth. He's a pretty smart guy, so I'm just saying. Did
you like Bobby Heenan's outfit in this match with the dog catcher thing? Yep. There's a lot of cool vignettes too when he's in the hotel room. I think that's a Coliseum video exclusive where he kind of gets it delivered and he's like, I got a plan.
I mean, Bobby Heenan. I mean, I think he was one of those guys that loved to play it up and like just. I did like the whole outfit that he came on. It's like, God, how the hell would you wrestle in that anyway? It's like, it just seems like it would be nearly impossible to wrestle. And good thing it wasn't like a serious. I mean, it was a good match, but it wasn't like it wasn't a main event. So it's like, I mean, it was a good match, I thought. But I was a big British Bulldogs fan. Were you?
I mean, I don't think anyone in their right mind were not a British Bulldogs fan. They're like ridiculous good. Dynamite Kid is the template for modern wrestling, period. His influence on what we see today, it's just so, he's so ridiculously good and so ridiculously gifted. And, life got the best of him, I guess. I mean, he has demons, and Davey Boy's not far behind him. So that team was amazing, and before Dynamite got hurt, you can make an argument that they're like the number 3 on the pecking order, WWF. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. I mean, they were no killer bees, but just saying.
Like that Brian Blair, he's all right. That Jim Brunzel's an ugly motherfucker.
Yeah, he's not.
With all due respect, Jim Brunzel, if you're listening to this.
Yeah, no.
Get a heck of a drop kick. Good for you.
Yes, good for him. Oh man, this we had the next match. Randy Savage, Miss Elizabeth, of course, taking on the one-man gang with Slick. He won by disqualification. That seems to be a big theme tonight. Disqualifications, time limit draws.
There's only so many finishes you can do.
With 15 matches, you know, it's like
well, 15 in a battle royal.
Yeah, 15 in a battle royal. But
I mean, if it was me, if I was booking this, I have Savage beat everyone clean 1, 2, 3 in the middle. Call that a fucking day. But I think the reason why they did it this way, because who was Savage's first opponent after he wins the title? It was a one-man gang. So maybe they brought it back. That's why they did the DQ here. So I'm assuming why this happened the way it did.
Yeah, I don't know.
He never got the pinfall on Gang, so right after Savage wins the title, one-man gang is the number one contender, and you go from there. That's what they did, so.
I mean, I don't know. It was, I don't know. It was just, I think it was, like you said, it was one of those evenings that had so many matches that they had to have some kind of disqualifications, time limit draws. I mean, they can't have all clean finishes. I mean,
no, that's ridiculous. You can't do that.
Nope, you cannot do that.
No run-ins, though, essentially.
Yeah. Oh, man. This, I mean, when I watched this pay-per-view back last week, in my 2 weeks of quarantine, it was, I mean, like we were talking about at the beginning, there was a lot of a young Donald Trump. Who would have thought 30 years later he would be a president of the United States? So I'm just saying. But, and then, I mean, it was, who would have thought? Would you have thought?
I don't think I ever considered it.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, what can I say? Well, the next match on the card was Demolition Axe and Smash with Mr. Fuji taking on Strikeforce, Rick Martel, and Tito Santana for the WWF Tag Team Championship.
I like Demolition.
That is all.
I like Strikeforce and Girls in Cars. Now, let me ask you a question.
Yep.
Do you prefer Strikeforce or Can-Am Connection?
U.S. Express.
Do you prefer Tito Santana or Tom Zenk?
I'm a big Tito Santana fan.
Okay, that's fair.
Even though not Randy Savage, Jesse Ventura used to make fun of him and called him Chico Santana.
Sure did.
Did he have the flying burrito? No, was that him?
Ask Manny. Manny had the flying burrito.
The flying burrito. I'm like, oh my God, how? I think even Tony Schiavone said that on one of the shows, one of the old NWA shows. I'm like, really? A flying burrito? I mean, come on.
I mean, I guess your form kind of looks like a burrito, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? I think
Demolition got a hell of a push when they first came in. They were beating the shit out of everyone. They injured who they injured? Fucking I forget. Was Scott Casey?
Yeah.
And then they had to bring Billy Jack as his cousin, and then they had Billy Jack versus Patera matches, which basically leads up to this. And Demolition becomes the number one contender. They essentially dominate Strikeforce, who had the belt for a little while. They beat the Hart Foundation for them. And Demolition will go on a historic run of being the WWF champion until losing the belt to the Brainbusters.
Yep, the Brainbusters. Yep. Then we had the moment you've all been waiting for, the main event of the tournament to crown the WWF World Heavyweight Champion, the Macho Man Randy Savage, with the very vivacious and lovely Miss Elizabeth taking on Ted DiBiase with the eighth wonder of the world, Andre the Giant.
Amazing matchup, although they've had better matches on house shows. But I think for a pay-per-view main event, it's really good. Not a big fan of the Hogan interference. I don't think we need Hogan to pass the torch to Randy here. I think it looks ridiculous. Although at least it's the formation of the Magpies, which actually already started up to this point. We see Elizabeth go back to the back after Andre and Virgil had been interfering in the match. I like to finish personally with, I just wish Savage should just win clean here, or at least with like a roll up or something, not Hogan hitting DiBiase in the back with a chair. I thought that's kind of ridiculous. I was like when Jesse, because Jesse liked Savage, but he was a babyface, but Ventura would still kind of be a heel, but regardless of what Ventura's affiliation was, he was still like Randy regardless. He's like, fine, Randy's a champion, he's great. He has to like admit it. I think that's a great dynamic for the commentary here. Savage has a hell of a run as world champion. I think he did a fantastic job. He's able to kind of fit in seamlessly. Again, they don't lose with Hogan not being around because how Hogan's out filming that movie. And he did a fantastic job as, WWF champion. Did a way better job than, let's say, Warrior did 2 years later. But, this is Savage's time. He's ripe. Fans are with him. They're with Elizabeth. Amazing. And this starts basically an angle that starts off for the next year when they do the breakup, which is, again, amazing.
Overall, what would you give between 1 and 10 WrestleMania 4?
If I had my nostalgia goggles on, 7, objectively speaking, is probably closer to around a 4. I do enjoy this show. It's very long. It'd be on 2 video cassettes.
Yeah.
And the video cassettes were like there was 2 boxes, and when you unfold the boxes, you see Hulk Hogan's face pop out, which was awesome.
Yeah.
I had that tape. I'm going to rebuy that tape relatively soon.
And watch it on your VHS recorder.
I do have a VHS recorder. Because I have WrestleMania 1 signed by Hogan. I probably should get all 6 of them, maybe 7, 8. I go 1 through 8, get them signed.
Yeah.
But I think overall it's a show. It did well on pay-per-view. Although it was hurt by the first Clash of Champions, which was the same night. But for a pay-per-view, it did okay. WrestleMania 5 would actually outdo it. But I think overall the presentation was great. Nothing too crazy. You had Vanna White, which was probably one of the biggest stars to get at that time. Who's bigger than Vanna in 1988?
Nobody.
In terms of female celebrities. So, she's right up there. Bob Uecker did a great job WrestleMania 3, so they brought him back. So, I'm fine with the celebrities. They didn't overdo it. Like, say, WrestleMania 2, they had just enough. The focus was on the tournament. They really put a lot of emphasis on the world title, which is, one of my big things, and want to make sure that that title is taken care of. Again, most of your critics out there are not going to like this show. That's fine. From a nostalgia purpose, I really do enjoy the first 8 WrestleManias, and I have a hard time saying anything negative about them.
Well, if you have nothing negative to say about this, I'm going to let you ponder on it for the next week. Our next show that we're going to be covering, because this was today, if you didn't look down at your watch on your phone or your computer, it's April Fool's Day. Now, this is not a joke. And next week's show is even funnier and not a joke. We are going to be covering Clash of the Champions 2, Miami Mayhem.
Okay.
That's from the James L. Knight Center. It happened on June 8th of 1988 in Miami, Florida. Had some great matches. We're not going to be talking about them.
That's the one with the boat, right?
Yes, with the boat.
Yes, with the boat.
We had Barry Windham, Brad Armstrong, the Fantastics taking on the Sheepherders, Jimmy Garvin and Ronnie Garvin taking on the Varsity Club, Nikita Koloff, Al Perez, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard versus Sting and Dusty Rhodes for the World Tag Team title in the main event. It's going to be an interesting watch next week. It's been a while since I watched it. I think I'm going to get off the horn in a minute and go watch it. But anything you would like to leave the fans with this week before they delve into their new week of most likely staying at home, working from home, and watching Clash of the Champions 2 Miami Mayhem when we come back next week and talk it in depth and in length?
It has a boat.
Yes, it has a boat. And on that note, for the great Alex G. As always, I am David Fine. We will, of course, talk about Clash of the Champions 2 Miami Mayhem. And as always, we'll talk to you in the past.